When I was a little kid, I used to believe in fairy tales. I used to believe the Easter Bunny was real. I used to believe in Santa Claus. I used to believe in all sorts of things. And then I became an adult and I started thinking for myself, learning, studying for myself. And much like things that are fairy tales, one of the things in this Delphi case that's a fairy tale is that Ron Logan is Bridge Guy. You might be sick of hearing about this, but I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. So stay with me and take a look. If you still believe Ron Logan is Bridge Guy, there's two possible scenarios here. And I have visual aids in order to help you understand this. Here is scenario one. Ron Logan's home is where the yellow circle is. And if you follow the blue arrows, he would have had to have gone one of two ways that day to abduct the girls. He would have had to have left his home, gone down County Road 300 North for a significant distance, and either A, cut into the Mears entrance, then went down the trail, half of the trail, across the entire Monon High Bridge, led two girls down the hill, across a cold creek, up a super steep embankment, killed them, and then went back onto his property at age 77. That is scenario one. Obviously, he could have also gone all the way down County Road 300 to where the Freedom Bridge is and entered the trail from there. But why on earth would he do that? It makes no sense whatsoever. Here's something else that doesn't make any sense. Scenario two. Notice Ron Logan here, the yellow circle, that's where he lives. In scenario two, he would have had to have first deliberately crossed Deer Creek, going south from his property, walked up the hill where the girls were led down the hill, walked all the way back to where the Freedom Bridge was. Now, why do I say all the way to the Freedom Bridge? You may say, well, he could have just turned around on the Monon High Bridge Trail. No. Remember, the eyewitnesses described seeing Bridge Guy, dressed like Bridge Guy, near the entrance, passing them, the teenage girls, near the entrance by Route 25, where you enter the Freedom Bridge. And then he would have had to have turned all the way down, around, walked all the way back around, back down the trail, back across the hill, led the girls down the hill, back across the creek a second time, killed them, and then went home. And he would have had to have done all of this at age 77. Not 20, not 30, not 50, not 60, age 77. I want you to take a look at these maps one more time and ask yourself if that makes even a bit of goddamn sense, because it doesn't. Again, scenario one. Ron Logan goes down County Road 300 North, cuts in the Mears entrance, accosts the girls, loops around, crosses the creek, goes back onto his property, goes home. Or, if you prefer, went all the way down County Road 300 North, all the way to the entrance to the Freedom Bridge, and did the same thing. And then again, scenario two, just to recap, he deliberately crosses the creek, which is an icy creek, from his property first, only so he can go up a hill, walk all the way back to the start of the Freedom Bridge, turn all the way around after he just went through all the water, walked all the way back south-southeast, accosted the girls, went back across the creek a second time, back to his property. It doesn't make sense. Why? Because it didn't happen. And then there's these two things. Thing one that I always tell you all. Ron Logan on that day had a giant bushy white mustache. How do we know? Because he was interviewed the next day by police and TV, or at least television. Now, granted, this isn't the greatest picture and it's zoomed in, but do you see a bushy white mustache anywhere with the sun reflecting from the west off of Bridge Guy's face? No, you don't, because it's not Ron Logan. And one last thing. Here is that interview with Ron Logan. And for those of you who say and continue to say, oh, well, that was Ron Logan because the jacket matches. Well, if that's the same jacket the next day, where's all the blood on it? How come there's not a speck, not a drop, no blood whatsoever the following day on that jacket? I'll tell you why, and it's simple. It's real simple.